This is unique, Elliotte, talking to two coaches, two rival coaches in the Western Conference. So why don't
we're friends.
What's that?
Yes. Well, we're friends.
Yes.
Until the playoffs start, right? And then it's banging the glass at each other. You know what might be fun? Rick, I want to get your thoughts on the Winnipeg Jets.
Which Rick?
I was going to say Rick Tocchet.
Yes.
Your thoughts on the Winnipeg Jets. Rick Bowness, your thoughts on the Vancouver Canucks. Mr. Bowness, we'll start with you.
Okay, listen, I love what he's done going in there. Ever since he took over, you see more structure, you see more compete, and you see them playing more as a team.
What I'm impressed about, because I'm a stress ball, this guy's coached more games and to look as good as Bones is, I listen, it's ditto for me. A really hard team to play against. A really hard team to play. So I love their third line size. I like what Bonesy's done with his defense. You know, obviously both teams have really good goaltending, which is great.
What a great stop by Elliotte.
You know, you play the Winnipeg Jets. If you're going to leave there with 2 points, you know, there's going to be some bumps and bruises if you come out there building with 2 points.
So both of you guys, your organizations made a trade. Sean Monahan to Winnipeg, Elias Lindholm to Vancouver.
Briswan tipped in, Lindholm again. How about this debut?
How much involved are you guys in the process?
I'm very lucky, and I know Bonesy's got a great management group with Patrick and Jim. They communicate all the time. They always ask me, you know, actually sometimes, what do you need? And you got to be careful because, you know, I want everything.
Have you ever said to a general manager, please don't do that, or I don't think that's a good idea?
I haven't.
Never, eh?
I have.
Okay, there you go.
Really? You haven't?
No.
You don't have to say who, but can you kind of talk about why you said no?
Well, but I've been a part of a roundtable where they'll ask you, hey, we're going to get this guy. What's your opinion? And I would say, I don't think it would be good because of these reasons. Then obviously the general manager makes the decision.
Yeah.
But I do give my opinion on that for sure.
When they get to that point, they're okay, if we make this trade, where do you see him fitting in, right? And then you got to go through that whole process.
Sure.
Like that's happened.
Sure.
But yeah, I've never gone, oh geez, don't even touch that guy. No, that hasn't happened.
Does it feel like a scramble when you get a player or players at deadline? Like, oh geez, okay, all of a sudden now my manager's dumped, you know, 2 new defensemen and a right winger on me. Let's try to, and it's almost like, you know, house on fire, house on fire. Does it feel that way for a coach?
Well, for me, it's like, I don't want to give this guy too much. Like, I think that sometimes when you trade for a guy, sometimes you give the guy this is what we do here, this system, this is what we do. Like, you want the kid to play. And I think it's important that we got him with Bonesy and with Monahan 30 games. So we have a lot of time in the sense of whether it's video, one-on-one time with a coach. We're not cramming right now. I think when you get the guy at the trade deadline, sometimes you got to cram. You know, you got to really get this guy in the lineup, and you're trying to get your system. So we're gonna have some time here, and you know, even like like where he's gonna live, get him comfortable. Like, you know, I've been traded before. Like, you know, you're at the trade deadline. You know, where am I going? What hotel? The first 2-3 weeks is tough. I'm gonna tell you. So, getting his family acclimated with Vancouver and all that stuff is huge to make this guy feel comfortable for the next 30 games.
Does he like rain? Like, you know, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
You know, just their daily routine.
Just have to go there.
Their daily routine of what time they go to the rink and how long does it take them to get to the rink and all those things, right?
Yeah.
Like they all come into the part, right? And you're leaving your family behind for a little bit until you get it all settled. So it's very upsetting for a player, and it's good that we've made these trades as early as we have to give them time to get all those pieces together.
And that's why, and Bonesy will tell you too, is important that your team, you know, it brings this guy like he's part of the family. You know, I've been on some teams where you got transition where it's just seamless, and then you get some other teams maybe not as close, and the guy feels he's on an island.
You guys both have really good teams in Canada. Do you guys think about that, bringing the Stanley Cup back to this country?
I mean, I'd lie if I say, you know, as a Canadian kid, I mean, it's a dream. But I try not to go there because I'm a day-to-day guy. And, you know, there's going to be a lot of pressure that hits our team and Bonesy's team as this gets going. So, but I'd be lying if I'm not, you know, daydreaming of, you know, holding a Stanley Cup in Vancouver. I mean, that'd be the ultimate, and being Canadian too. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of good Canadian teams that have a shot. You know, there's a lot of good Canadian teams, which I think is great for the NHL, but it's also great for the country.
Todd McClellan is out of a job in LA, fired as head coach of the Kings.
How do the coaching fraternity handle news like this?
Well, I've been fired more than he has. And I
He
know
coached
how
more
to-
games, million games more.
No, you know what? It's upsetting because we've been through it. And I always reach out to the coaches that have been replaced, and I'll reach out to Todd at some point. But yeah, when you go through it, people don't understand how hard it hits your heart. And it hits your heart, hits your family, it hits your friends. It hits a lot more people than just the coach is fired. It hits a lot of people, and it upsets a lot of lives. And I always feel terrible when a coach gets fired. I really do. And I hate to see it. I've had to go home and tell my kids I got fired today. Like that's tough. That's a tough thing to do. And you're pulling them out of school and you're making them go to different cities.
I've had some good buddies get fired. I've got fired. You know, my good buddy Craig Berube gets fired.
Yeah.
Won a Stanley Cup 3-4 years ago. Tom McCullen's a hell of a coach. Like, just because you get fired doesn't mean you're a bad coach.
When I got fired and the kids were all in school, like we always had a family discussion. Okay, if this is upsetting you too much, does Dad do something else? Do you want me to get a hockey? And not once the kids ever say, no, Dad, maybe it's time. We're tired of moving. Every time I got fired, we had that discussion, and they said, Dad, we're a hockey family, and we're going to stay in it.
Rex, thank you.
Yeah, that's right.
Always a pleasure.
Thanks, guys.